Thank you for tuning in to Mr. Cliff's Toy Shop. On today's review, we take a look at my top 12 action figures of 2018. So I want to be clear that this list is completely subjective and based on my own personal taste of action figures. There are several action figure lines that I did not purchase this year, and I just want to take the time to go through a few of those. I did not purchase any figures from Revoltech, Figma, NECA, Mafex. I did not purchase any Marvel, Star Wars, or DC figures from SH Figuarts. I also did not purchase any Hasbro Star Wars Black Series figures. I also didn't purchase any Transformer figures. There are several other lines of action figures that I did not purchase. However, the companies that I mentioned, I feel most collectors at least purchase toys from at least one of those companies or lines. So with that said, let's get started. So to my first honorable mention, the Toys Alliance Megatron. This figure was just too big for me to purchase in 2018. I really didn't have a place to keep it. However, if I did purchase it, I'm pretty sure that it would have rounded out my list of top 12 for 2018. My second honorable mention goes to the Comi Cave Hulkbuster. I just had a hard time shelling out $550 for a 6-inch scale action figure. I'm going to wait. Hopefully the price drops by $100 or more in 2019, and then I can add this to my collection. However, if I was willing to spend the money in 2018, I'm pretty sure that this would have made my list of top figures. And last but not least goes out to the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I tried each day to win these figures when they went live on NECA's site. However, I was not among the fortunate few. However, I will be adding them to my collection in 2019 as they are now a GameStop exclusive, and they actually should be arriving pretty soon. And I'm pretty sure that they will make my list of top 12 for 2019. So enough with honorable mentions. Let's get into my top 12. So coming in at number 12 is Bandai SH Figuarts Majin Buu. So in a line that has been saturated by Son Goku releases, it is so refreshing to receive a new scope, new design, and a new character that fans have waited for quite some time. Majin Buu is slightly oversized or out of scale than his counterparts. However, he makes up with that with clean paint apps and excellent articulation, something that SH Figuarts is well known for. Now, Buu isn't perfect. Bandai skipped out on some necessary items that was needed, such as his steam effect pieces as well as blast effect pieces. Throwing the high price point is probably the reason that some collectors passed on him. However, high price, some missing effect pieces was not going to keep this iconic figure out of my Dragon Ball Z collection. He is a major part of the franchise. He has developed into his own character and made his way into new series. So I know most Dragon Ball Z collectors had to have this guy. And this is why he made it in at my number 12. So coming in at number 11 is the Hasbro Marvel Legends Black Knight. This pick was based off two things, value and variety. Add 3 head sculpts and medieval armor, what do you get? The ability to army build with a general, commander, and soldiers. If Hasbro had simply thrown in a shield, mace, maybe a mallet, this figure would have cracked my top 3. Instead, it comes in at number 11. So coming in at number 10 is the Hasbro Marvel Legends Monster Venom Wave Build-A-Figure Venom. In my opinion, this is the best Venom that we have to date from any toy line. The reason that it comes in at number 10 instead of higher are really 2 reasons. Reason 1, when I think of Venom, I think about Eddie Brock and not design, not Matt Gorgon in this design. Reason number 2, you can't walk into a store and just buy this figure. you have to buy 6 other figures that you may or may not want in order to build him. So for those 2 reasons, this Venom comes in at number 10. So coming in at number 9 is the Figuarts Age of Ultron Hulkbuster. And man, is this thing beautiful. The paint apps are marvelous. The light up features are bright and luminous. The functionality on this figure is also great, but boy is it expensive. In addition to the expense, I'm disappointed at the lack of parts that are actually die cast. So for those reasons, this figure comes in at number 9. Coming in at number 8 is the Mezco exclusive Ronin. This was a figure that I didn't think that I would like, but it arrived in the mail and it has stolen my heart. If you are a collector of Marvel Legends, you have seen your fair share of Wolverine figures throughout the year. Even Mezco has released 4 Wolverine base figures before this one. And 3 of those 4 figures I absolutely hated. But this one was a gem. It just was something different. It had all of the elements of Wolverine, but with new parts that seemed to be unfamiliar. The clothes were done exceptionally well. One of the head sculpts is, in my opinion, fantastic. And just everything about this figure felt right. And that's why he's my number 8 pick. Coming in at number 7 is the Hot Toys Thor Ragnarok Gladiator Thor Deluxe version. Man, does this figure come with a lot of accessories. Not only does he come packed with a lot of accessories, but something which is pretty new to Hot Toys, this figure is extremely articulated. The clothes do not really restrict the movement. You're able to get him in some great poses. Sadly, Thor is strucken by the Hot Toys bug, which is sending one head sculpt instead of multiple. So you're stuck with this basic vanilla expression. And for that, this is the reason that Thor comes in at number 7. Coming in at number 6 is the Storm Collectibles Mike Tyson. He's well articulated, comes with 3 interchangeable head sculpts. This may be the only type of figure like this that we ever receive, and that I mentioned that it's Mike Tyson. Number 5, Mezco Ironman. Mezco truly outdid themselves with this figure. The colors, the accessories were simply phenomenal. I'm a collector that has over 40 Hot Toys Ironmans in my collection, and this is perhaps the best Iron Man that I own. This thing is nearly perfect, but being nearly perfect is why it came in at number 5. So number 4, one of my most anticipated figures of 2018, and oh boy, it did not disappoint. The Mezco Popeye. Prior to seeing this solicited, I didn't think that I wanted a Popeye figure. I didn't know that I needed a Popeye figure until I actually had this in my hand, and Mezco killed this thing. Popeye comes stacked with accessories, 2 head sculpts, a number of clothing options that really just creates a different look of the character. This figure could have landed in any one of the 3 top spots, and only due to pricing is the reason that it did not. Number 3, Storm Collectibles Street Fighter V Arcade Edition Akuma. When Storm Collectibles first shown their Akuma from Street Fighter V, I was really not a fan of the design. However, the proportions, the clothes was so close to the Akuma that I knew, I assumed, hoped that they would come out with a traditional version of Akuma, and they did, and this thing does not disappoint. The scope work on this figure is absolutely phenomenal. From the creases and lines to the forehead, to the wrinkles in the nose, to the indentations in the face, to some of the vein works that's on the arms and chest and throughout, the shading. they just really nailed this thing. It's as if it just jumped straight out of the video game into action figure form. Akuma was every bit of the price that Storm Collectibles was asking. And even if the price was a hair more than it was, I wouldn't have been upset, because this thing really gave me, and I believe other collectors, so much quality. And I struggled to put this in at number 3, because this could have easily been number 1. So all the way down to number 2 is the Hasbro Marvel Legends Apocalypse Build-A-Figure Wolverine. This is the best costume version of Wolverine I own, had at any point in my collection, or played with. Yes, it is better than the Mezco, their own interpretation of Wolverine. And it's also better, in my opinion, than the Revoltech version of Wolverine. Everything about this figure screams 90s Wolverine, Jim Lee. The articulation is incredible. The paint apps, though simple, really there were no bleeding lines, no runoff, not a lot of smudges on my figure. The only one complaint that I have with it would be the claws. I understand why they're made out of that very soft plastic. However, it's just a bit frustrating. Compared to other companies that make Wolverine figures, this is priced at a fourth of what those other figures cost, and this is why it made it to my number 2. So, clobbering his way into the number 1 position is the Hasbro Marvel Legend Walgreens exclusive Thing figure. Take a moment and look at this thing. No pun intended. Hasbro truly outdid themselves. The scope work is phenomenal. Each rock looks as if it was individually cut. Each sculpted rock just reminds me of a fingerprint. Each pattern truly being its own. If this figure would have came out of the package just this way with no accessories, it still would have made my number 1. However, throw in an additional head and 2 pair of hands, this was an easy decision. The Thing figure costs $20 and at least weighs 3 times the amount of my SH Figuarts Majin Buu. When I first seen the figure, there were about 6 of them in my Walgreens. I made the mistake of only buying 1. I wanted to leave the others for other collectors. However, the next day I returned just to buy 1 more, and they were all gone, and I haven't seen another one since. So if there's anyone out there that has a Thing for retail pricing, please let me know. So here they are, my top 12 of 2018. I reviewed all the figures that you see before you, with the exception of the King Arc's Hulkbuster. I'll try to get that review in this week. 2008 was a great year to be an action figure collection. I think we've seen some of the best from absolutely Marvel Legends. We've seen some fantastic figures from Storm Collectible, and I'm expecting a big year from them for 2019, as well as Mezco. There were a lot of releases from Mezco that were supposed to release during 2018. However, it seems that they have been pushed to 2019, such as Darkseid, the Ghostbusters, and a few other figures. So I'm expecting 2019 to be as ambitious and as great a year as collecting. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you during the next review.